Today we'll start with the module 3 class 1. So what all things we are going to see in module 3? So we are going to learn about the concept of arrays, where we'll discuss about one dimensional array, two dimensional array, how array manipulation can be done. All those things will be discussed. Next we have character arrays and the strings. So we are going to learn about the character arrays and the application, that is the strings. Next we have algorithms, set of algorithms. Those are searching and sorting algorithms like linear search, binary search, bubble sort, and selection sort. Now all these algorithms, searching, sorting are actually application of the arrays. We will see in detail about all these concepts. Now, what is an array? As given that fixed sized collection of same data type. Array is a collection of same type of values which are stored in consecutive memory locations. So each element in the array is indicated by same name as the array, and an index is used to point to particular element in the array. Array is a derived data type, and the following are the various types of arrays, that is one dimensional array, or which is also represented as in short 1D array, and two dimensional array, that is 2D array. Now one dimensional array, you can visualize it as one row with multiple columns, whereas two dimensional array you can visualize it as multiple rows and multiple columns. One simple example we can take, the benches in the class. Now one bench, if I take, has got, let us say, 4 compartments. So that we can say 4 columns are there. There is only one row. If we take, there is one bench as one row, then we can call it as a one dimensional array. So it can hold 4 values. So 4 students can sit in that particular bench. So all 4 are students. Students are similar data types. Similarly, two dimensional array and all the benches in the class, if you take it together, then it represents a two dimensional array with multiple rows and multiple columns. So I can store more number of students can be accommodated in the class, that is two dimensional array. Now, let us see the declaration syntax for one dimensional array. Data type, it can be of any basic data type, integer, floating point, character. Then array name, this is the name given to the array. This is the similar to your variable name, and all the rules we have mentioned earlier about naming a variable holds good here also. Then array name, and then the size. Size specifies the number of elements or number of values we can store in that particular array. So example you have taken here, int marks size I have given it as 10. That means I have declared a integer array. The name is marks and it can hold up to 10 values, and all the values which are stored there must be integer. Then char grade size I have given as 6. So this means it's a character array, and the name of the array is grade, and it can hold up to maximum 6 characters. Next, float temp 15 I have given as a size. That means that I have created a array by the name temp, which is a floating point type, and it can have maximum of 15 values. Now first one, if you consider the int marks and width I have given 10. Now for example, you want to store the marks of 10 students or marks of a student in 10 subjects. Then if without using the concept of array, you may need 10 variables to store the marks of one particular student in 10 subjects. Instead of that, if I create a array like the one I have shown here, int marks, and a size if I give 10, then using one variable itself I can store 10 values here, or the marks of the student in 10 subjects I can store in one variable. That's the main advantage of using arrays. Now, in this slide, we are looking at how exactly it is stored, or how the pictorial representation of the array and the elements stored in the array. Now, int ARR is the name of the array. Size I have given it as 8. Now, below that the diagram you can see there, those are the set of values which are stored in that particular array: 12, 34, 66, minus 45, 23, 346, 77 and 99. Below that you can see the memory address. It starts at 65508. So since it is an integer array, each element occupies 2 byte space. So 65,508 is the location of first element. So next element will be at the location 65,510. That's 2 bytes apart. Next again 2 bytes for the next element. So like this it goes to the last element. So here if we know the first location of the first element in the array, then we can just go on incrementing the pointer and point to any of the element in the array. That is why we make use of an index here. Next, how we can initialize the array elements. Here two ways are there. One is compile time, another is runtime. So compile time initialization means we just, while declaring the variable itself, we initialize it with the value. That is called as compile time initialization. The syntax is given here: data type, array name, then the size we have to specify, then within the curly braces we specify the values to be stored in that particular array. This is compile time initialization. Some more examples are given here. There's a various ways in which we can initialize the array during compile time. So int num6, that means I have declared a integer array with the name num. It can hold 6 values, and within the curly braces I have specified the 6 values to be stored in 6 locations of the array. First value will be 2, then 4, 12, 5, 45 and 5. Another way is int n, another integer array I have declared. N is the name of the array. I have not specified the size. So here whatever number of values I specify within the curly braces, that much values it can store. So here 2, 4, 12, 5, 45 and 5 I have given. So total number of elements here are 6. So the size becomes 6. Similarly, floating point array also I have declared. Similarly, character array I have declared there with the name as name, and 5 elements I have given, but I have initialized it only with 3 elements. Now we can initialize individual elements of the array also. That is also possible. So a sample is given over here. I have declared an array with the name A and size 3 I have given. So here each individual array elements I am initializing. A of 0, that is the first element. Array starts from 0 to n. So A of 0, 34, A of 1, that is the second element, that is 23, A of 2, that is 54. Size is 3. So 0, 1, 2. So totally 3, 0 to n minus the 1. So runtime initialization, that is during runtime, when you run the program, you want to accept the array elements from the user. In such case, what we are supposed to do, or how we can accept the values and store the values in the array. So here I have declared an array int A of 50. So that is totally maximum of 50 elements I can store here. So either I have to go on accepting the, and I have to write the instruction to accept the elements one by one, that is up to 50 elements, or else I can make use, because accepting one element, the task is similar for all other elements. That is why I can make use of a looping construct. So the same task of accepting the elements or initializing the array can continue for, can be done for specified number of times. So here 50 elements are there. Array always starts with 0 till the n minus the 1. So I equal to 0, I is less than 50, I plus plus. That is the for loop I have given. So initially I value will be 0 and 0 is less than 50 is true. So control will come inside the for loop. Now a of I, that is the first element, a of 0 equal to I plus 1 I have given. So first value what I'm going to store in the array is I is 0. So 0 plus 1 is 1. So first element will be 1. I am storing in the first location. Next I is incremented by 1. So I becomes 1. And now again the condition is checked. 1 is less than 50. Condition is true. So control will come inside. Now a of I is 1 now. So a of 1 equal to I plus 1. 1 plus 1, 2. So 2 will be stored in the location a of 1. That is the second element. Like this continues until I is 49. Once I becomes 50, the control will come out. This is one way. Another way is int b of 3 I have given over here. That is, it can have maximum 3 values, and during the runtime the user enters the 3 values and I'll accept it through the scanf statement. Percentage d, percentage d, percentage d, that is 3 integer values I am accepting. So where I'm going to store it, first value in b of 0, second value in b of 1, third value in b of 2, 0, 1, 2. These are the 3 locations. So ampersand indicates the address. Now accessing elements of an array. So how we can access the elements of an array? So array elements can be accessed with the help of subscript or index. That's what we have seen in the previous slides there. So float marks of 3. So now here I declared a array by the name marks, which is a floating point type, and 3 values are initialized there. So now to access each element from the array, how I can access that? So one sample I have given there. First element I want to display. So printf percentage d, it should be printf percentage f, comma, marks of 0. 0 means the first location. So that is the index I am using there. Marks of 0, that is the first location. Marks of 0, what is the value? 88.5. Similarly, marks of 1, 90.0. Marks of 2, value 75.9. So 0, 1, 2. So 0 to n minus 1. Size is 3. So but how it is represented? Location 0, 1, 2. Similarly, in temp I have given temp equal to marks with this marks of 2, that is temp will have the value 90 point, the temp will have the value 75.9. So third value 75.9, that is represented at marks of 2, 0, 1, 2 is the location. So 75.9 will be stored in temp. Now expression as subscript. So our example we have taken, previous sample we have taken there I, that is similar to the subscript. Here this is just a we are checking the adjacent elements of the array. If a of I is less than a of I plus 1, for example, imagine 2 elements are there in the array, then a of 0 is the first element. I am checking whether it is less than a of I plus 1. I starts at 0, let us say, then a of 0 is less than a of 0 plus 1. If that is true, then temp equal to a of I. Whatever value was there in first position will be moved to temp. Then a of I equal to a of I plus 1. Whatever value is there in the second position, that is a of 1, will be moved to a of 0. Then similarly whatever was there in a of 0, that is in temp, will be moved to a of 1. It's just a sample. That is how we can make use of the subscript and how we can make use of the index. Next, we'll see one sample program here to demonstrate the one-dimensional array. Now, here hash include stdio.h, that is the standard input-output function, header file, then void main. Now here I have shown the various ways of declaring an array. First one, 3 integer array I have declared here. First is int a equal to 1, 2, 3 I have given. I have not specified the size there. So it can hold n number of values. So depending on the number of values, the size is defined here. So int a equal to 1, 2, 3. So it is holding 3 values. Next, b I have given the size as 3 and I have initialized it with 4, 5, 6. So b of 0 will be 4, b of 1 will be 5, b of 2 will be 6. Next, I have declared another array by the name d. I have given size as 10. That means it can hold up to 10 integer values. The values I am going to accept it at runtime. Next, I need an index to access each element of the array, either to store the elements in the array or to print the elements of the array. I need an index, so I have made use of I for that purpose. Now I have declared another variable n. That is, I have to specify how many number of elements I am going to accept. Here size I have given it as 10, so it doesn't mean that I have to accept all 10 values. Right, so I have to specify the limit. I want to specify the limit, how many number of elements I'm going to store in this array. So I have taken n to specify that particular limit. Then another array I have declared here, character array, character C, width I have given it as 5, so it can hold up to 5 characters. Now here printf enter the array limit. So scanf %d comma ampersand n, that means whatever input the user gives, that is the array limit he gives, will be stored in the variable n. It is an integer type, so %d, ampersand is the address, and n is the name of the variable where the value has to be stored. Now for example, I'll take n as 3. User has given input as 3. So for all the array, I will take the limit as 3. So enter the elements of array D, because A and B have already initialized, so only array D I can accept now value. So enter the elements of array D I have given. So here accepting one element or n element, the task is same, so that is why I made use of for loop here, or else that number of times I'll have to go on writing the scanf statement. Instead of that, in the for loop I can execute it. So for I equal to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus. So because array representation we start it as 0, so that is why it can go maximum up to n minus 1. That's why I have given I is less than n, I plus plus. So n is 3, means array can have I is 0, 1, 2. So totally 3 elements. So I equal to 0, I is less than n, and I plus plus. So initially I will initialize to 0, and it will check the condition. I is less than n, I is 0, n is 3. So 0 is less than 3 is true. So it will enter the for loop. Now scanf %t comma ampersand d of I. So first value what you specify will be stored in d of I, that is d of 0. So for example, I given input as 4, that will be stored in location d of 0. Then again control will go back to the for loop. Now increment statement, updation will be executed. So I is incremented by 1, I becomes 1. So now again condition is checked, 1 is less than 3, 2. So again control will come back inside. Now the second value what you have input will be stored in d of 1. For example, taken 5, so 5 will be stored at d of 1. Now again I is incremented by 1, I becomes 2. So 2 is less than 3, condition is true, so control will come back inside the for loop, and this time what value we are given will be stored in d of I, that is d of 2. So I have taken 6 as an example here, so 6 will be stored in d of 2. Now I will be incremented by 1, I becomes 3. Once I becomes 3, the condition I is less than n, 3 is less than 3 fails, so control will come out of the for loop. Now since scanf is a buffered input function, so when you run the program, you enter all the values and it will wait until you press the enter key. Once you press the enter key, then it will accept the input and store it in the variables. Now we'll see how to enter the values to array C. Again it is similar task, but here only change is, instead of %d, here we have to make use of %c. So enter the elements of array C. Again for I equal to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus %c comma ampersand c of I. So first element what I am entering is A, will be stored in C of 0, similarly B in C of 1, and similarly C in C of 2. After that I becomes 3, so 3 is less than 3 is false, so it will come out of the for loop. Now displaying the elements of the array, there are various ways to displaying the elements of the array. So first let us see one using the index. So here printf the elements of array A are. So I already know that there are only 3 elements in the array. So I'll display it percentage d comma a of 0, that is the first element. Next printf percentage d a of 1. Next printf percentage d comma a of 2. So 0 1 2. So totally 3 elements because array starts from 0. So 0 1 2, totally 3 elements are displayed. This is using the index. Now next, we'll see how to, what are the other ways to display the array elements. So now printf the elements of array B are. So now I'm making use of the for loop and displaying the array element. This is the subscript method. So I have made use of an index here I. So I equal to 0 because I know there are only 3 elements there because B of 3 I have given size. So I is less than 3, I plus plus. So printf percentage d slash n comma b of I. Every time one element from the array B will be printed. Okay, B of 0, B of 1, B of 2. Similarly, for the array C also I made use of the subscript method. So for I equal to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus, printf percentage C comma slash n percentage C slash n, because each element of the array one by one I want to display, so I given slash n. There's a new line, comma C of I. So starting from C of 0, C of 1, C of 2. So like this all the elements of the array will be printed. So next, elements of array D. Again, I have made use of the subscript here. So for loop, I have made use of I equal to 0, I is less than n is 3 here. So 0, 1, 2. So till that, it will print the elements of the array. Finally, closing the main function. Now execute this program and check the output of it.